I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I need a motion to adopt the agenda, please.
I have a motion.
Okay. Becky with the motion, Deborah with the second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. At this time, we will recess the officers of the old board, and I will act as chair until the board is reorganized. May I get a motion to retire the old board?
Yep, I'll make a motion.
Okay, Bart. A second, please. Deborah? So Bart has made the motion, Deborah has seconded. How do each of you vote?
Yes.
Aye. Okay, any opposed? The board is now dissolved. Okay, next we are going to verify the election results from April 4, 2023. May I, do each of you have a copy of the election results?
You have the copy there, and then I have one here. So that means you can read it word for word. You're welcome.
No. Do any of you need to see the election results? They were, okay. They were published, but,
Yeah.
all right, very good. So at this time, I need the board to approve the election results from April 4, 2023. If I may get a motion, please.
I make a motion.
Becky, a second, please. Chris? Okay, so Becky Granger has made the motion. Chris Johnston has seconded. How do each of you vote?
Yay.
Are there any opposed? Okay, April 4th, 2023 election results are approved. At this time, we will administer the oath of office to our new board members by the board secretary. At this time, Kelly Reed will administer the oath to Mark Holman and Bradley Fettig. If those members will please stand.
And Bart.
Oh, and Bart. Yeah.
Yes. Sorry.
He's a realist.
Yeah.
And you follow along so that because I talk really fast. Okay, please raise your right hand. I do solemnly swear or affirm
I do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Missouri,
and the Constitution of the State of Missouri,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
and I will faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties of school director
discharge the duties of school director
in and for the Alton R4 School District,
in and for the Alton R4 School District,
County of Oregon, State of Missouri,
County of Oregon, State of Missouri,
to the best of my ability according to law.
to the best of my ability and according to law.
Thank you. Thank you. And then you all have your oath here to print your name and sign, and I'll take them out after the
Now,
meeting.
welcome on board. We're very pleased. Thank you for coming to serve the students of Alton R4. Next, our discussion will be on reorganization of the board member offices. I'll wait just a minute for you guys to sign your paperwork. Okay. At this time, I would like to take nominations for president of the Alton R4 Board of Education. Deborah,
I nominate Kelly Stubblefield.
are there others? Deborah nominated Kelly Stubblefield. May I get a motion to elect Kelly Stubblefield as president of the Alton R4 Board of Education? Pardon me?
A second.
A second.
I'll take the second then.
Okay, Bart, sorry. Now you both can get into action now.
Yeah, feel free to raise that hand.
Okay, so
Or if you
Deborah.
don't know, ask.
Yeah. Deborah has made the nomination. Bart has seconded. How do you vote?
Yay.
Yay.
Okay, are there any opposed? Kelly Stubblefield is elected the president of the Alton R4 Board of Education from April 13, 2023 until the April 2024 reorganization meeting. Next, I will take nominations for vice president of the Alton R4 Board of Education.
I nominate Chris Johnston.
I second.
We'll go with that Mark.
Yeah, let Mark have it. Let Mark have it.
Yeah, we need to get
First one.
We need to get Brad in.
Yeah. So, Becky Granger has made the nomination. Mark Holman has seconded. How do you all vote?
Yay.
Yay.
Are there any opposed? All right. Chris Johnston is elected the Vice President of the Alton R4 Board of Education from April 13, 2023 until the April 2024 reorganizational meeting. I'll now hand over the duties to our new president.
Thank you. I'll now take nominations for Secretary of the Alton R4 Board of Education.
I nominate Becky Granger.
No, wait, that Kelly stuff at Kelly Reed.
Did you say
Secretary.
I said, oh, I thought you said
Secretary.
Paperwork. I nominate Kelly Reed.
I'll second.
Okay, so Becky nominates Kelly Reed, and Brad seconded it. And may I have a motion to elect Kelly Reed as Secretary of the Alton R4 Board of Education?
How do you vote?
Yay.
Aye.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's all right.
You have to
All right, so Kelly, you have the nomination. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for all you do. Well, thank you.
Kelly's elected Secretary of the Alton R4 Board of Education from April 13th, 2023 till April 24th at the reorganization meeting. I will now take nominations for Treasurer of the Alton R4 School.
I nominate Becky Granger.
Was that Mark?
Yeah, Mark.
Okay, are there
Good job.
others?
I said, oh,
Any others? Jefferson?
I'm
Okay,
gonna second that.
who made the motion?
Mark made the
Mark
motion.
did, I'm sorry, I missed that.
Mark made the motion, I
Okay.
second.
So Mark's made the motion and Debbie Sallings has seconded it. How do each of you vote?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay. So, Becky Granger, you're elected the treasurer of the Alton R4 Board of Education from April 13th, 2023 until April 2024 reorganization meeting. Okay. I will now take nominations for 2 people to authorize check signatures for the Alton R4 Board of Education. You didn't give me a different one.
I laid it right here.
This is my stuff. This was all this here.
I laid one there. I don't know where it went.
Well, mine's got a script. Is this
That's
it?
hers.
Oh, it was laying here. Sorry. I was like, wait, mine says.
Yours says something else, huh? Okay, where we at?
I was reading right along verbatim. I said, they're right on point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, sorry, I'm like,
I'm sorry.
Already edging in on our
It
script.
was laying right here.
He was just trying to help me out.
Yeah, it was.
Practice.
that's
Okay.
wonderful.
May I get a motion to authorize yes, myself as president and Becky Granger treasurer to sign checks for the Alton R4 Board of Education per the MSBA Board Policy DK?
Yeah, might well.
And may I get
Your
a
turn,
second after Bart and Chris? Okay, so Bart's made the nomination and Chris has seconded. How do each of us vote? Yes. So myself and Becky Granger have been elected as check signees for the Alton R4 Board of Education.
And for our new members, that board policy, it states that the board president and the board treasurer sign all of our checks. So that's what's in.
Okay, Missouri Law 162.203 RSMO requires all school board members to receive 18.5 hours of training within the first 12 months of service. MSBA CBM Essential Board Member Training fulfills this requirement and provides the foundation for becoming an effective board member. The training's free for all new board members, but registration is required. In addition, over the coming months, new board members will meet with the board president, board secretary, and superintendent for orientation. Dr. Williams will collect the best dates for each training and send each new board member a successive calendar. We have provided each school board member a copy of the Code of Ethics. This list covers governance codes for the superintendent and district. This will be discussed in depth during your MSBA school board training. Okay, we now need to elect a delegate to the Missouri School Board Association. May I get a nomination for a delegate? Anybody volunteer?
I normally nominate Bart, but
I thought we
there's
do the
lots of
newbies.
times he can't
We
do the
newbies.
meetings.
I nominate Mark Holman.
I second that.
You
I
have to
second
vote.
that
Dog.
nomination.
There we go.
And you said, in 3-hour meeting, I did it last year.
Yes, it's very interesting.
It is interesting.
But
I've
it's
done,
good.
I've done it
You'll
a
learn
number
a
of
lot.
years. It is.
You'll learn a lot about what Jeff City's doing.
Okay, so Debbie Sellings nominates Mark. Are there any others? Okay, may I get a motion to elect Mark as the delegate to the MSBA for the Alton Art Board of Education?
Yes.
Get a second? Debbie?
Yeah, Debbie nominated, Becky had the second.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. And how do each of us vote?
Yay.
Yeah.
You're it, Mark. So Mark's the MSBA delegate for the Alton R4 School District from April 13th, 2023 until the April 2024 reorganization meeting. We must now elect an alternate delegate to the Missouri School Board Association. May I get a nomination for an alternate delegate?
I nominate Brad Beck.
Okay,
I second.
I was gonna say, are there any others? But-
No.
Okay.
We're making the two moving too
May I get a motion to elect Brad as the alternate delegate to the MSBA for the Alton R4 Board of Education?
Yes, you may.
Anybody else second that? Debbie? Okay. And we vote?
Yes.
How do
Yay.
we vote?
Yay.
Yay.
Yes. Any opposed? So Brad is the MSBA alternate delegate for the Alton R4 School District from April 13th, 2023 until April 2024 reorganization meeting. So next, the board must adopt or readopt policy BBFA, the conflict of interest policy.
We do this every year. It's required to do every other year, but just to keep from forgetting, we just do it every year.
Correct.
And there's a copy of that policy in your packet.
Right.
This one, right?
Maybe, or it's in the big packet.
I think it was in the
It's
packet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the back page.
Right.
Yeah, the last page.
Oh, you can.
Do you guys have any questions about that?
Isn't in the packet you gave to them earlier that was complicated? Okay.
Yes.
May I get a motion to approve policy BBFA?
I make the motion.
And a second, Bart? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Policy BBFA is approved. May I now get a roll call of the newly reorganized Board of Education?
Okay, ready? Yes. Brad Pettit.
Here.
Mark Cordell.
Here.
Mark Holman.
Here.
Debbie Sallings.
Here.
Kelly Stubblefield. Chris Johnston.
Here.
Becky Granger.
Here.
7 members present.
Good deal. At this time, any person wishing to speak on any question previously discussed through administrative channels and not on the agenda will be granted 3 minutes to present to the board. Please state your name for the record.
Nobody wants to speak.
Okay. The board has established a 15-minute limit for the public to comment, or public comment period per policy BDDH-1. Individuals will be permitted to speak only once during this period. The board has established a 3-minute uniform time limit for each speaker. Only items from the posted agenda may be discussed. Please state your name, address, and school voting district for the record. We have no one here for that. Will you go ahead and address the rest of it? Okay. Okay, so we're gonna move on to the consent agenda. The consent agenda is utilized by the Alton R4 Board of Education to deal with routine matters that must be considered by the Board of Education, but require a minimum of discussion. All Board of Education members receive and review written information supporting the items listed on the consent agenda well in advance of the meeting. While any Board of Education member is welcome to remove any item from the consent agenda for separate consideration or discussion for any reason, Normally, all items on the consent agenda are approved in one motion with a minimum of discussion. May I get a motion to approve the consent agenda? Barb? May I get a second, Chris? Everyone in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the consent agenda is approved. And we're ready to move on to old business. We have long-range facility and program update.
Okay.
Dr. Williams.
So all of you who have been around campus probably are getting kind of excited. It's the first time in the history of Alton School, the high school has had air going in. We have the duct system all installed and the air, what do you call those?
Ducks.
Ducts.
Or air socks.
Air socks,
Yes.
yeah, the air socks and the ductwork. And so now we're just waiting, they're on back order for the units themselves, but as soon as the units are here, and we were hoping they would be here before graduation or other things, but we're hopeful in that regard. So everything's ready to go as soon as the units are in. The other thing you probably have noticed are the outstanding softball lights, which can be seen far and wide. We did have one little glitch. I can turn everything on from my phone, but a surge, which I'm so glad we had Brad Fettig on the board.
That will explain that to us.
Yeah. A power surge hit our, hit two of the poles, and it only impacted the internet system on those. Each pole has its own internet switch, and so, is that correct? Okay. And two of the switches are out. So they're sending us 2 new switches, and as soon as those 2 new switches are here, we'll be in. But I'm gonna tell you, it's outstanding, because I can be in West Plains, I can be at a conference in New York, or wherever I'm at, and someone could say, can you turn the lights on the softball field, and I can just use my phone to make a schedule, or turn them on, turn them off, do whatever we need to for the field. It's just one of the coolest things ever. We're really excited about that. We're excited for our girls. The field looks fabulous, in my opinion. Yeah, and our girls have been winning. It's great.
Coaches.
Yeah,
Really good
the
job.
coach is doing a magnificent job. Our junior high girls, I think, won the
Blue Springs
Yeah, the
Conference?
Blue Springs Conference.
Or Big Springs,
Big
not Blue
Springs,
Springs.
yes. And
Yeah,
so,
sorry.
we just couldn't be happier. And then, I talked about air conditioning, the choir building. Okay, I had intended to take new pictures of the choir building. The choir building is coming along so quickly. It's been gutted. We've re-established, the walls, what do you call that when you put the stuff on the wall? Sheetrock, okay. So we've sheetrocked all of the walls. We're ordering tomorrow the hardwood flooring, which we got a really good deal on it. Ronnie's family used to own a hardwood flooring company in North Carolina, so he's gonna install it all for us, all the hardwood flooring, which is magnificent, because that's gonna run that entire building around $2,000 to hardwood floor it.
Wow.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, that is
Yeah,
amazing.
unbelievable. And then, so we'll have the hardwood flooring in, everything's ready to move forward. We've had Butler up there to put in the new air conditioning ducts and system, and, that building's gonna come in right around what I had estimated, around 110 probably, and it's just going to be gorgeous. We have new windows ordered for tomorrow. We're gonna raise the windows up higher for safety, and we're going to tent them. We're putting, safety doors in to that building as well, and 2 new bathrooms, and 2 new storage rooms. It's going to be absolutely fabulous. We're really excited for Cole Barton to come down and to shine for us in the choir building. So
His
that,
mother told me this morning, he is really excited.
oh, we're super excited for him
Yeah.
as well. So that's what I have so far.
Okay. Okay, we're ready to move on to new business. In new business, we have Mrs. Goins with special education evaluation. I was gonna say, where's she at? I'm sorry, we're getting behind Holly.
In case anybody doesn't know who I am, Beverly Goins. I've been the special ed teacher director for, I guess, 22 years. So I had 2 reports, I guess, are in your packet, a early childhood special education report and a special ed, program, special education report. So that's K through 12. And so, just an overall of our program, we've got about 24 people that kind of work in the special ed department. Just a minute, maybe to still look for that. We have about 24 people in our department that work with students with an IEP. It's broken up in our elementary. We have two teachers. One classroom is for mild and moderate that serves grades 3 through 5. And then we have a self-contained classroom that serves our moderate to severe disabilities. And that's K through 6, or K through 5, I have to change it, K through 5. And then also working with, maybe we have a few students with mild and moderate in that classroom, K through 12, or K through 2nd grade. Then in our junior high and high school side, we have 3 teachers. 2 classrooms work with our mild and moderate disability categories. We have that split up between a 6th through 9th grade classroom and then a 9th through 12th grade classroom. And then 1 self-contained classroom for mild and moderate to severe disabilities, 6th through 12th grade. I serve as the process coordinator, special ed director. I also I do the early childhood special education work. I do the paperwork there, and I see the kids in that program. I got my certification last year, so I see any kids that we have in that program. Some things that I do on a daily basis, I write all the evaluations that we do, initial and reevaluations. I case manage for the speech and language IEPs. I review all the IEPs and try to attend every IEP meeting for this. I serve as the local education agency contact for our IEP meetings. I administer and score some of our testing. And we have a program called the School District Administrative Claiming Program, so I oversee that. I coordinate and communicate with therapists that we have on campus. We contract through the hospital, so we have an occupational therapist, a speech therapist, a physical therapist that come in, and so I coordinate with them. I make sure all of our documents that need to be in our system are uploaded, and I get those uploaded in where they need to be. I manage and coordinate training for the paraprofessionals. And then I also write the 504 plans, which is kind of a different program than the IEPs, but I also oversee that. We have one testing examiner that comes in as needed and does the testing. I coordinate with her when we have someone that I have permission to test, so I work with her. We have 12 paraprofessionals in the district, elementary and high school. And then I kind of already mentioned our related service people. We have 2 occupational therapists, 1 physical therapist, and 2 speech pathologists that come in and work with our kids. And so then just kind of every 3 years, our special ed department has a review from the state. So next year is that year. So this year I've been in preparation of all the paperwork I'm doing is just trying to make sure it's in order to hopefully have a very good review next year. Some of the training that we've done, Lisa Day is our RPDC regional RPDC committee, I guess is what you say. So she has come 2 different times on campus and worked with the special ed department. And that's kind of overall view of kind of what we do in our staff. But in the report that you have, the early childhood special ed, just overall, I'm sure you've read it, but just kind of, I don't want to read it word for word, but it just kind of documents, our numbers are low there. I'm hoping to really build those up. But I have a 5-year chart there that kind of shows how many we've seen in the program over the last 5 years. Early childhood special ed works with children ages 3 to 5 with disabilities. I work with identifying students after the contracted school day, since it's a separate program. So if I see anybody, it has to be after my school time, that I would work with them. Some students participate in the preschool and Head Start programs, and then they attend those programs. And then early childhood is something separate that they would get from me. I could see them, like I said, after school time. Services for a young child with a developmental delay might include cognitive, adaptive, social, emotional, communication, and physical, depending on the needs that's identified through the informal or formal assessments that is written up in the evaluation report. I think the current method that we are using to provide services is adequate to meet the needs, in our community. These are December first, so, Desi always, looks at our numbers on December first. So since December first, we have a few more that's in process, so we have a few more that two, they're currently in process, but that's encouraging to me that we're getting some more in that program. Strengths of the program, I think that, early childhood special education services are provide us with the opportunity to get to know these kids before they come to kindergarten, and, know what their needs are, what they need when they get to kindergarten. We provide early childhood special ed services tailored to meet the parents and students' needs. We receive the referrals through, First Steps. That's another program that's not through our school, so they see children birth to up to 3 years of age, and then they would transfer to us at age 3. And sometimes then we coordinate with that person to get that transition made by their 3rd birthday. Sometimes we get some referrals through parents as teachers and then parents in the community. On there is recommended changes as a result of this evaluation. I think that what we're doing works for our community. We're just going to continue to provide our early childhood special ed services based on the needs of individual students in the community. Depending on our case numbers, I think if we were able to get those numbers up, we may need more teachers available to provide those services. So that would be something, that would be a great thing, to be able to have more kids in that program. The other report is just our special ed program, that's grades K through 12. A student can be seen up to age 21, so sometimes that does happen. The evaluation on the second page of that. So we're in cohort 1, and the state calls that just the maintain and retrain year. So we have been very busy doing a lot of workshops and training. That's been my focus this year, and I'm just working on trying to make sure that all of our paperwork is in compliance, so that when we go through that review next year, that we're good to go. All special ed staff attended an on-campus training on August 9th with Lisa Day, and she discussed how to write IEPs using that she calls the golden strain concept, just making sure that everything throughout the whole IEP, from evaluation through the IEP, is consistent. And so we work on that, did a lot of training on that, and she returned to Alton on February 28th to follow up with some training. Some of our staff have gone to Rolla or other places to do some training. One special ed teacher attended a workshop this summer about post-secondary transition, that's for our high school side. And 3 special ed teachers have participated in the series of new to special ed training workshops this year. Feedback from them, I'm just always get really excited to hear what they've learned in those trainings, because they, it sounds like they've really learned a lot. We have teachers, so there's an alternative to the MAP testing that some of our students do, so some of our teachers have been doing that training as well. I have attended several trainings this year on how to write 504 plans, special ed discipline, cohort for new directors and process coordinators. I've gone I think I have one more trip coming up in a few weeks, so I think I've gone about 4 times to Rolla. Several directors from all over our area come and they meet and we do training. It's been really, really nice. Learn a lot of new things there, a lot of good things there. And special ed is always changing. So you learn something one year and it changes the next. So it's just a constant changing of policies and things like that. Other online training that I have done is through that SDAC program. A lot of it, whenever I can find things online, I try to do as much online as I can. I did a training on emotional disturbance, deciding when a student requires a paraprofessional. I work one-on-one with the special ed teachers to help them write IEPs, because that's quite a task, learning how to write an IEP. So I work one-on-one with them to do that. Currently, the special ed department has completed 9 initial evaluations, and there's 5 more in process, and 8 re-evaluations with assessments. That's the testing we've done. There's other re-evals, but that's all we've done this year was testing. Of those 9 initial evals, 6 have met eligibility requirements, and we began those special ed services here at school. So there's a chart also here of how many we've served in the last 5 years. The state does take a look at that. They're really always monitoring that. They kind of look at the percentage. Statewide, they're about 13% of the state population is identified with a disability, and our percentage usually runs a little bit higher than that. So we're about 14%. That is something I do try to be keep in mind and think of. Be very, keep that in mind because the state looks at that. And I think a few years ago, we really had a high number, and the state was, they came in and done it on site. So that is something that I do try to be aware of. Since December 1st, we have about 76 with 5 more initial evaluations in process. That number fluctuates up and down quite a bit throughout the year. We have kids entering in and leaving, the program, kids that move into the district. But one thing that has impacted our numbers is our speech program. The speech changed that a couple years ago. The state changed that a few years ago. So we don't automatically go right into a referral and testing for speech. They really want us to do interventions first. So our speech language pathologists see about 23 kids. It's not on an IEP yet, and so they work with those students. They just pull them out, do some really quick services. They work with the teachers to kind of give them tools to help them and to monitor some of those things. And then, we've watched that for a while. If we need to move into testing, we do, but that has helped our numbers to keep that a little bit lower. The strengths of our program, I do think that our referral, evaluation, and IEPs are completed within the state timelines. IEP and evaluation meetings are scheduled with parents and appropriate staff. IEPs are implemented and followed as written. I think we really have good parent participation. When we reach out to them and set a meeting, we have a really good turnout for our parents to come in to attend those meetings. I already went over how many, kind of a review of our staff of what we have on campus. Kind of what I do. And just as some changes, continue training with all the special ed staff. I mean, there's just a constant training every year that we do. I try to keep staff informed of process changes through staff meetings or by email. Probably my recommendations, would be if we could hire a speech language pathologist again. Right now we contract that. The state changed it a few years ago that we have to have a speech language pathologist. We can't just have a teacher filling in that job. So that did change, but that's kind of been hard to fill. So, but there's those categories of disabilities that are specific to speech. So there's a lot of paperwork, a lot of students receiving those services. Without a speech language pathologist, I'm the one that case manages those students. So, I'm hoping that we will be able to find a speech pathologist and be able to hire one. But the other thing that I'm really excited about is purchasing a program for the special ed department for our online or web-based special ed program to manage our special ed documents, such as our IEPs and our evals. The program that we're currently using is going away, so the new proposed student system that we're getting might not have a very good special ed program. So a program called SpedTrack is well-known Missouri company. A lot of schools in our area use that, so I'm really excited to maybe hopefully be able to use that next year. So it'll help us write. I think there's a lot of benefits to it to kind of help save some time with the new program and probably like writing 504 things, which we don't have that program right now. So any questions or comments?
So you don't have anything now that well, you do for this year, but once that program's gone, then you'll have to do something different, is that what you're saying?
The program that we're switching over to does have a special ed component, but I had talked to someone at West Plains School. They had experience with it and it wasn't very good. And so just the feedback that I've heard from a few people, I would like to try to hopefully pursue something else. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, may I get a motion to approve the special education evaluation? I may need some help with speech.
And early childhood, also because we were both in the same. Yeah.
Yeah, I can probably do both, yes.
So you want a motion for
I
both?
want a motion, but, yes. I'm
I'll make the
sorry.
motion to approve both, programs.
Second. Becky nominated, to approve the evaluation, and Debbie seconded it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, your evaluation is approved. Okay, we're gonna move on to, the approval of summer school. Ms. Holly?
We just need the salary amount approved and that for the teachers, and that's, we're still waiting on numbers to come in, of course, so it could fluctuate a little bit, but right now we're looking at around 64,000. That's for teachers, cooks, paras, everyone that it takes to run the show.
How does that run on what we normally do?
It's actually a little bit less than what it could go up.
Do we have a deadline when all that stuff needs to be turned in for, summer
I'm
school?
sure if it has one on that or not, it's the state.
Okay.
Are you talking about the state summer school application?
No,
the
like
application.
students, so you know how many students you have, that way therefore you know how many teachers you'll have to, yeah, so. I didn't know if she had a deadline of when that would be due, so. Okay, let's get a motion to approve, the amount that Holly stated, approximately 64,000 for our summer school expenses.
There you go.
Chris
Chris
and
got it.
Bart,
Thanks,
you're
sir.
gonna second it? Okay, so Chris has made the nomination and Bart has seconded it. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Okay, let's move on to the health insurance update. Ms. Sherry?
Okay, so, just as a refresher to everybody, and then also because we have two new board members, we're currently covered by a consortium called MUHP, and that's the Missouri Educators United Health Plan, sorry. And, right now, we have a base plan that the board pays for. The board currently gives us $585 per each employee, and that totally covers the premium for an HSA $7,000 deductible, okay? And the cost of the premium goes up from there, and we have some people that are on PPO, some are still on the HSA. The biggest percentage is on that fully paid, plan that we have, the HSA 7,000. But with that, that is a pretty high deductible, and we had a little bit of mumbling and grumbling last year, so we decided to pursue and look, you know, for better insurance. And so we started that process early this year, and we feel like we have exhausted every avenue that we can. We have looked high and low and talked to several different people. I've talked to agents that I gave them some base numbers and said, hey, if you can help us, please give me information. I'll give you what you need. They never called back. Then I spoke with two agents who they both represent another consortium called OSBA, which is Ozark Schools Benefit Association. They both have agencies that try to quote for that. One of them, he keeps saying he'll give us quotes, but I tried 2 or 3 times this week, and I think he's just doesn't have anything, so he hasn't said anything. The other one has come back with quotes. He got a very good quote for us from Blue Cross Blue Shield. That was one day. The next morning, Blue Cross Blue Shield called back and says, no, we decline now. They've gotten some more information about our health records, and just, we're a little bit on the unhealthy side as a group. So that's what makes our insurance premiums a little bit higher. Then he also got, quotes from, United Health Plan and from Aetna, and they all declined. So we had also reached out first to a local fella in West Plains. His name was Ron Murray, and he is with Barker, Phillips, and Jackson. They're in West Plains. Very nice fella and very easy to work with. It's been a pleasure there. And he met with us and even met with our insurance committee yesterday. And he kind of ran into the same thing. We would be on a standalone plan, but he kept running into the same thing as this consortium did as well. So he was rejected, and then he finally got one from Aetna, And it was comparing apples to apples, and it was for the 7,000 plan, the same plan, but what he was getting a quote for was gonna be $90 to $100 more than what MEUHP is offering us. So, MEUHP, their renewal rate this year has went up by $6, so what their renewal plan this year is $591 for that base plan. So in a nutshell, we're kind of stuck. What I would like to see is Ron Murray, he is willing and he can be like our administrator through MEUHP.
For free.
For free. Yeah, we don't have to pay anything. There's an administration fee in with FTJ that does handle all of the insurance. So that administration fee is what pays him, but we don't pay anything extra to him. He's local, easy to work with. Also, he wants to make sure that every year we go through his process again, which with him, we all did a little short application online, and he'll keep that, and every year we will try to do something better again. So, I would like to be able to change over to be able to work with him because he is local and because I feel like he has done us right during this whole process and been very honest with us. So,
And Sherry is a rock star. Sherry has been so patient. I think we probably had like 10 companies altogether that we have been rejected by. And, but they did say, and Ron is so good to work with, he said that from 1 year to the next, it could completely
Yes.
switch. So we need to continue to apply every year until we
Yes.
find whether that we qualify. So what I would like to do, she said that we went, right now we paid the premium for the lowest plan, which is
Yes.
HSA.
is it HSA 7,000?
And I would like for us to continue to pay the premium for teachers, which would next year would be $591. So we would need to get a motion to approve that we pay the lowest premium of $591 for teachers if they choose that plan.
Yes.
If I could get a motion for that.
I second that motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Mm, yeah.
Aye.
Okay, are there any opposed to that plan? All right, so starting next year, we'll continue to pay the lowest premium for teachers at $591, and all staff,
All
not
staff,
teachers.
yeah.
All staff.
All staff,
Not
all
teachers.
full-time staff.
Sherry, I sure appreciate it.
Will that continue on the same calendar that we've done in the past, like will they do the renewal for July
Yes.
1st?
Mhm. Yes.
Okay. So it
But your
doesn't change any of
deductible-
that?
No, but your deductible does stay on the calendar year.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
I just mean it's not gonna change any of that for anybody.
No, nothing will change.
Okay.
Now, I do think they did take off one plan. We did have 10 available for our employees to pick from, and now it's only 9. Last year, they had a a PPO $500 deductible, and they took that one off, and it's the lowest they go is a PPO 1,000.
And I'm going to add one more thing to what you had said, that Ron told us yesterday that he will come back during the sign-up period
Yes.
to do trainings for every single staff member, so they'll understand what their choices are.
Right.
Because even I, after 33 years in education, every time we sign up, I can't figure out
Yeah.
which one would be the best choice for me.
Right.
And so I know that it will be a great benefit to all of our staff to be able to have him on site,
Yes.
helping them, so,
It will. I agree.
yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sherry. Okay, so, anything else with that one? Okay, so we're ready to move on to the academic reports and homeless. Ms. Holly Reese will now present the Alton Ardmore March 2023 academic update. You have the floor, ma'am.
Okay, I'll start with the homeless youth. It's the McKinney-Vento Act, actually, and the term homeless children and youth, it means any individual who lacks a fixed, regular, and adequate nighttime residence. And then it carries on, and that's the official definition of what homeless is. It's whether, it might be that they are sharing the houses of other persons due to loss of housing, economic hardship, or other similar reason. They could be living in a motel, hotel, trailer park, camping grounds. They might have a primary nighttime residence that is a public or private place not designed for an ordinarily used as a regular sleeping accommodation. It could be a children or youth who are living in cars, parks, public spaces, abandoned buildings, substandard housing, bus or train stations. Or it could be any migratory children, which we do not have a population of. So, our homeless liaison, we are required, by the department to designate someone as the liaison. This year it is Pam Gilliland. She makes sure that there are trainings that the liaison has to attend, and she makes sure that we are in compliance. We have to post information that shows all of our homeless information. You can see the number of students that we serve over the last several years. It's a pretty low number. Most of our numbers, so we report all of these to the State Department. Most of our students are what we call doubled up. So it may not be, it's not going to be your true definition of what we envision homeless living on the streets in a sleeping bag or tent. They may not, they may be living with grandma and grandpa, but they don't have their own home. And so that's what a majority of our students will fall under. We do have a couple students here and there that might be living in a motel, you know, temporarily, and then that would be a homeless consideration. You can see that even at one point, we had 0 students in the state. I remember the State Department contacted us because they're like, why don't you have homeless students? I'm like, because we don't. It's not an error. Funding and identification for this program. So students are identified by the enrollment forms. We are required by law to ask that question when students enroll and when they re-enroll. And then, so that we catch any students that way. And then if they need to contact the homeless liaison, they can notify her and she can provide any services or information to them. McKinney-Vento grant funds are available if you have at least 20 homeless students, and we do not. But I will be honest, we do not have a need for the funds. Like I said, most of the students have all of their needs met because they are living with another family member. Title I, we are required, if we report a homeless population of even 1 student, we are required to set aside some of our money to help them. And so in the past, again, most of their, and so it could be used on transportation to the doctor, it could be used on doctor visits, it could be used on any of their needs that they might have. What we try to do is if we have a homeless student that is involved that is in high school, as you know, if you have had kids in school, you know that they are expensive. And so if they are involved in any activity that requires fees, or if they're involved in a sport that requires basketball shoes, let's say, or track shoes, or FFA jackets, then I'll reach out to the counselor and say, hey, who do we have that's marked homeless? Let's try to help them get these things. So we try to meet their needs that way. So that's all on homeless. What do you guys have? Do you have any questions on homeless?
No, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay. And then I'll just move into academic. We have testing coming up, our grade, what we call the grade level tests. So it's 3rd through 8th grade, May 1st through 12th. Our EOCs, end of course assessments, we assess in Algebra 1, Government, Biology, and English 2. Those are May 1st through 4th. And it's really hard for you guys to see the notice, but I did email it to the board members that were currently on the board that we will have a federal programs meeting. And it is April 18th at 6 o'clock p.m. and the community is invited. We invite anyone and everyone to come that a stakeholder, and we will review what we have done with those programs. We receive funding for those of you that are new on the board. We receive federal grant money. We'll expand into the non-core areas, but that's just a little snapshot of what we will. I've worked with the new principals were able to join on a Google Meet that we had just this week and give their input. It was nice to meet with them. We applied for a school safety grant. There was $20 million available across the state. So Dr. Williams and I put Shayna on the task of trying to obtain a lot of quotes for us in a short amount of time. They threw out the grant and then they said, you know, it's due April 10th, and Shayna was great about spending a lot of time getting us everything we need. We requested $37,000 for protective film for the exterior entrances, key card entrances to all of our outbuildings because, you know, we don't have those on everything right now, and 2 AEDs for our outbuildings.
What's an AED, Holly?
That's the defibrillator. I don't know what the A or the E stands for, but I know it's what shocks you.
It's what?
Automatic electronic.
Oh, your wife's medical.
Yes.
Yeah.
It saved Blake's life very times. We shocked him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're wanting to we have those in most buildings, but they're $2,000 a piece. So this will be really helpful to the nurse to have that. So it could be on anything health or school safety related. So I'm not sure when we will find out about that.
And Miss Leslie keeps those up. She checks them.
Every Monday.
Yes,
Yeah.
every Monday she checks to make sure that
Batteries
the
and-
batteries are working.
That's good.
She does.
That protective film, that's like the one-way stuff for the,
the break-proof, so. it's
Oh,
not
really?
bulletproof,
Good.
It's break-proof,
Good.
yeah. So
Is it
it's
kind of
really nice.
tinted
That'd be
too?
nice.
I think you can get it tinted, yes.
That would help with our utility bill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It will.
that's
But
a
it
good
was
idea.
all exterior doors, and then like the secretaries, I put it for their glass. So we can't, like I said, we can't get bulletproof, but it will
Yeah.
be the next step.
That's good. Good thing.
Hope we get it. When will
Yeah,
we know?
fingers crossed.
If they've said, I don't recall the date. We just turned it in on the tenth, on
Right,
Friday, so,
right.
or
Is
no,
that the
Monday.
due
was
date?
10th.
Yeah,
Huh.
so
Is
that
probably
the due
30
date?
to
Yeah.
60 days out, I would say.
Yeah, 60 days.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else, Ms. Ollie? Okay, may I get a motion to approve the homeless evaluation and the academic?
I'm encouraging you.
Deborah, and who seconds?
All right,
Thank you. Deborah made the motion and Brad seconded. How do each of us vote?
Yay.
Aye. Or yay. Any opposed? I'm sorry, Kelly. Keep me on my toes.
She will.
Okay, you ready to move on to the budget then?
I'm so excited.
Okay.
I have a lot of great things to share in this part. I'm gonna talk about legislation, enrollment attendance, the budget, our new bank proposed new rates, a grant that we received, and also I noticed in front of you that Ray Murphy, who we may or may not know, he's a barber at West Plains, he is the state MSBA president, has absolutely been fantastic this year. He has been at Richards School District for many decades, and he has served the state of Missouri. Those of us that went to Kansas City saw him present, just really represented rural America very well. And he and the Governor Parson have done a school board recognition month, and you all have in front of you a certificate, I hope. Did you receive a certificate?
The blue certificates.
Okay, a certificate to thank you for serving, and you know, in a job like this, it's one of those, it doesn't pay for anything, you don't get paid for it, it's simply out of a servant's heart and doing service for others, and I appreciate you all so much, and I'm grateful that I've been able to serve with you. I've been on some really great school boards, and I'm thrilled that with our 2 new members, it's going to be an outstanding way to serve our students. The next thing I want to talk to you about, if you go ahead, let's talk about our bank. Our bank is Southern, and they have made a proposal to us, which is, in my opinion, quite good. Let me get back to that.
It'll be in your pockets,
It's near the back.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's not the back.
We have a renewal proposal from Southern Bank to increase our fixed earnings, which are currently at 1.76%, to either a 4.2% for 1 year or a 3.3% for 4 years, which would extend to the end of our contract in 4 years as renewal. We were talking about this the other day. How much did we say would increase if we went to the 3.3 for 4 years?
Well, we were just guessing,
Yes.
for it with the 1.75 or 76 that
Right.
we had about $13,000 of interest, so even if we just
Mhm.
doubled that,
Uh-huh.
$26,000 a month.
$26,000.
On our current balance, of course, that
So,
current
of
balance
course,
is
we
gonna go
need
down
to
when we
obviously
improvements,
go with an increased amount, an increased, fixed earnings rate. And I'm going to advise that we go with a 3.3% fixed earning rate for 4 years, because if we go with the 4.2, we don't know what might happen after 1 year. But we'll be locked in at 3.3, most certainly, for 4 years until we decide to continue. So, is there any discussion about that? What are your feelings on that?
Nicole said everything else would remain the same. The only thing changing would be the interest, and they said that was because of the current climate. They felt that they
Mhm.
need to pass that along to district.
It's a great advantage for our school district, and we were talking about that the other day. If we can get $30,000 per month, that will almost fund a teacher. So I think it's magnificent. And as you know, we have great expenditures, and any amount of extra interest would be fantastic. If there is no input, I need to get a motion to adopt, would you prefer the 3.3 or 4.2?
Did the Alton Bank not propose it?
We are under
Under
contract with
contract.
Southern Bank.
Southern,
Yeah,
Yeah.
this contract's for
Yeah.
5 years, and
Yeah.
we've
Oh,
just
okay.
finished the first year.
I
Yeah.
thought that was for a year.
No.
No.
Okay.
No,
Yeah.
it's a 5-year.
So we are under contract with Southern Bank. The only difference is they want to let us vote on increasing our fixed earnings rate. And so we have to decide whether just to choose a 4.2 for 1 year or a 3.3 for something. Next, I have our electric bill for the month. And I promise you, every month I'm not gonna look at you, Brad.
How can we save money?
Yeah.
How can we save money?
I feel like I'm really,
It's better this
really
month.
pleased with our electric rate. Our electric bill for February was $8,980, which sounds like a lot, but if you look at our historical electric bill, it's a lot lower. And you know, I know Ronnie's been talking to me about some of his initiatives to reduce the electric rate around campus. I do believe it's working, but also, as I showed you last month, there's a direct correlation between the weather and your electric bill.
Well, we know the ball lights are gonna.
And the
Increase
ball
it a
lights
little
will bring
bit,
it up
yeah.
a little bit.
Yes.
But we're hoping, because we have the ability to knock them on and off without extended use, that's gonna help. And something great about the ball lights as well is I can put them on half power for practice. I can put them on 25% for cleanup, and we can really reduce electricity in that way as well. All right, this is our enrollment, and I know it looks like a lot of increase. It's a small increase, but it's always good when your enrollment's going up in your school district. And I know for a fact, I've been contacted by several families. Next year, we have a lot of people moving into our district to enjoy some of the changes we have. And so we will continue to grow in that way. The only people that might be a little nervous are the coaches, because it might throw some of our teams into some other categories. But for the growth of our community, the good of our community, we're absolutely thrilled, because we're working on a future workforce and bring those kiddos back. Okay? Next, you can see the current enrollment graphic from 6th grade is still the largest grade that we have. Those are, you know, what's interesting, I think I had around 70 kids in my class and that was about the norm back in the day when I graduated in '82. And we're down a little from that, but I have great aspirations that will continue to grow. There's not much industry in Alton, but it's a lovely place to live, to raise your children in a safe and warm environment, whether you have to work outside of Alton or not. So that's going to be the lure that we're going to throw out there, is improved academics, improved facilities, and embracing those children and giving them a future story. Okay? Our attendance, let's discuss the Missouri School Improvement number 6, which most people call MSIP 6. I'm sure you've heard of that. For K-12 local education agencies, you get 12 points for success-ready schools. And 4 of those points come from your attendance. So while we dip below 90%, and this isn't our 90 of 90, we do remain at an average above 91.4 for our typical average. The difference is that for 90 of 90, and you know I was reading MSIP 6, they don't word it that way anymore. They give any kid that has 90% attendance a certain number of points, any kid that has like 85% attendance a number of points, and then nobody else gets any points. So the number of points that you receive can be up to 4 for success-ready students. So I'm excited to see what that's going to look like in our 2023 APR. Okay? This is our year-to-date expenditures to annual budget. Our expenditures compared to the fiscal budget are in line with what I would expect them to be. We have spent $1,876,474.57. Remaining of our projected, that's how much we have remaining of our $7,718,054.13 budget. I am working diligently on bringing to you a new budget for next year. And remember, I'm giving every teacher, not only they're going up a step, but they're also going up $3,000 each. And we have career letter, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm going to try to stay, it's going to be more than $7,700 next year, obviously, because we're giving them more money. But I'm still going to try to stay within the 8 million, the lower 8 millions for next year. And I'll try to bring that to you next month, our proposed budget, just to read, just to look at for next month. Okay, our year-to-date expenditures to annual budget, you can see that we're staying within the green in every area. We're not overspending in any area. And it's by the grace of the, this is horrible to say, but the American Rescue Act only came about because of the horrid things that happened during COVID. But as a result, it allowed rural school districts to do some things we otherwise could not afford to do. But it's over after this. At the end of this school year, it's over. We don't get any more of that money. So we have to be very responsible stewards with the money we have left. And as I've shown you, and I'll show you again, almost all that money is in the teacher fund. Because if you can't pay teachers, you can't draw in teachers. And if you can't pay teachers, you can't keep teachers. And so we have to focus on taking care of our staff, and everything else will follow.
And part of that falls in with the governor's raise too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
That
and this
wasn't
is
on
a good,
us,
this
so.
is another thing, and I'm glad you brought that up. I wish I had written down the exact bill, but this last week, it has been moved into the Senate, and I think they may have voted on it, that it's mandatory in 24-25, $38,000 base. And I told you guys that was coming. I knew that was coming. So we're right in line to move forward with that. But another thing that's interesting, I think that with a master's degree and 10 years, you have to move your master's degree scale to 44,000, I believe. So I'm going to look at that. If we have to modify a few things, we will. But on the date that it's due to have that, we will be exactly where we're supposed to be with that. I really, really don't know how we would have ever got there without putting all that money in the teacher's fund.
Yeah, so that's a master's with 10 years.
Uh-huh.
10
Right.
years.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we kind of watch this all year long to see how we're doing along the way and to watch our fund balances. And right now, a healthy fund balance is about 20%, 22%. Right now we're at 148.08% only because of the amount of money that we're saving for teachers. Now, if we were to take that all out, we would look like a typical school. But we're not a typical school. We're preparing for what we know is coming down the pipe. When we break down the fund balance, we are sitting at $8,802,000 today. We actually had a bump in that. I have that somewhere. Oh, I don't know where I put it. We have more money than that right now today, don't we, Kelly? As of today, it may be $8,900,000 today. But nonetheless, we have most of that is in the incidental and teachers fund, 148.08 fund balance percentage, and the American Rescue Act is over after this. No more loading up funds. We have to be responsible stewards of what we have, and I feel like we've done an amazing job of preparing to hire and keep high quality teachers in alignment with what the Governor Parson has in mind for the district. Okay, so remember I have taught many times about the funds that we have. There are 4 funds. We have no debt service because we've never borrowed money. Well, we do not have a debt service because we have not borrowed money in many, many years. But we do have a general fund, a teacher fund, and a capital project fund. I'm sorry, my general was prettier than that when I did it in PowerPoint. But from the general fund through March 2023, we've spent $2,627,497.13, and our revenue in March was $3,281,086.11. Okay. In our teacher fund, we have spent $2,805,328.70, and by the end of this school year, we will have added $3.1 million. So we're sitting at $5,065,730.51, and I still think I have like $300,000 to pull down for that.
From the American Rescue.
For the teacher fund.
Gotcha.
So that will go down, and we'll watch it over the next 5 to 10 years, reduce, and at some point, the community has to decide where you want to be, because eventually when you run out, you either decrease the number of teachers and make bigger class sizes, or you have to support your school district. So we have time, we're prepared and we have time, but we just have to educate the public on the need. And I have some ideas for that, by the way. So next, we're going to look at our capital projects fund. We have invested focus on the capital projects fund, working on air conditioning. We're getting ready to buy 3 school buses for $500,000. Our expenses from these projects are currently $408,753.70 for mini disc repair. we still have $675,907.26. And as I said, $500,000 of that will go to school buses. And that's also from the American Rescue Act. All right. I wrote about a month and a half ago, I think I talked to you about mental health and Tanya and what my intentions were. Since that time, we've decided that Tanya wants to do both. She wants to remain an elementary counselor and to serve as a liaison for mental health. But a beautiful thing happened in the meantime. The behavioral health care at Ozarks Medical Center reached out to me, and they're working diligently to provide us with a permanent on-site mental health care provider to offer health services, mental health services to our students 4 to 5 days a week. And so we're hoping by the fall, we will have that in place. We did receive notice this week that we did receive the grant that we wrote for $28,233, and that will allow Tanya some opportunity to work with our families as a whole as a social liaison to provide for each of those kids' future story. So we're excited to have all that.
She's excited to do it.
Yeah, we're so excited. Let's see. Okay. That was the process of putting up the poles. The softball lights are installed, the ductwork for the gym air conditioning. We're going to begin the hardwood flooring for the choir building in the next few weeks. This is our community. Community relates to what we have in common, our values, our aspirations, our mission, our vision, our goals. I worked with our CSIP committee and they spoke to what they want. Go back, please. Oh, you can stay on that. They want to see kids more. Go back to the kids. Yeah. We're building organizational values that mirror what the community said they want their values to be. I wish for each of my colleagues, all the teachers, the bus drivers, the cafeteria workers, custodians, everyone I work with, to become the best version of who they are, to maximize their skills and talents, and for nothing to hold that back. But we can't listen to external noise which tries to distract us from the mission and goals of taking care of our kids. So Maya Angelou, who's a wonderful, she's now deceased, but she was a wonderful poet, said, "Words are things. You must be careful about calling people names, using pejoratives. Don't do that. Someday we'll be able to measure the power of words. I think they're things, they get on the walls, they get in the wallpaper, they get in the rugs, and eventually if you put negativity out, it will get on you. So if we do right, and we continue to put positivity into the world, which is my goal, we will get positivity back. No positive comes from putting out negative. So we must do the very best, and when we know better, we do better. We can't go through life with a catcher's mitt on both of our hands. We have to be able to throw back positive things to our school and to our kids. So it's our job, as I lead this district, and you guys help me with this district, to give back as responsible stewards of our community. I'm so happy to be home again. People ask me all the time, how are you? I'm great. I'm thrilled to be back at Alton because I see progress. I see great things happening around us. And I wish to continue to lead this district with a proper vision, mission, and positivity. And I'm so grateful that you allowed me to do so. Are there any questions about anything I've spoken about tonight? Okay, I thank you all.
Okay, so we're ready to move on to future dates?
Yes.
Is that what you're at?
Yes.
Okay, so for the Board of Education, our future dates are May 11th, 2023 for the next board meeting. And then we would like to, for the June meeting, to be able to move it to the third week, the third Thursday instead of the second one, if that's okay with you guys. It'd just be a one-time thing as far as we know.
Yeah. So that date
What date
would
it is?
be, that date would be the 15th.
June 15th?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Anybody have
And
any?
what was the May?
11th. That'd be the second Tuesday.
Okay.
Yes. Or
Third
Thursday, I'm sorry. Second
So-
Thursday.
And this
Same
June
time.
15 is the third Thursday.
We'll be back from vacation that day.
Oh, you will?
Yeah, if it's still
Okay.
in the evening, I'll
Yes.
be here.
Yeah. And you'll have like a suntan.
Probably.
Yeah, I'll be back on the.
His hair may be pulled out. No, it's gonna be relaxed.
That's great.
Okay, so
Okay, so, we need a motion
to
to.
move to closed session. Or, yes, to move to closed session. Did I do that?
Yes, and we'll have to
And a
dismiss
second,
everyone.
Debbie. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we'll have to
Anybody
dismiss
opposed?
everyone except the Board of Education.